none of us were there in May of 1910 for that revival meeting held by Uncle Bud Robinson in the Sunshine Mission at Reno and Chartel Streets. We may not know that the church was incorporated on March 29, 1912 as the First Pentecostal Church of the Nazarene. And we may find it incredible to believe that the pastor's annual salary in 1913 was $75. Oklahoma City First Church of the Nazarene was formed 100 years ago. We are celebrating the past, present, and future of Oklahoma City First Church of the Nazarene. We pray that you'll rejoice with us as we pause to celebrate God's grace throughout the years through the remarkable people God called to be part of an extraordinary and unusual church, Oklahoma City First Church of the Nazarene. During those days in the past, some of our faithful leaders were born and raised. Just think about it. Uncle Bud, a stuttering, illiterate, itinerant preacher, 3 deaconesses, Mother Jones, Mother Wallace, and Sister Welch, and a handful of children who grew into legendary leaders, all served as a colorful tapestry of the formation of our church. When OKC First Church moved to 901 Northwest 6th Street, 6th and Francis, it was not the first location for this young church, but it was one of the most important. As the Depression years began to take a toll on much of the congregation, individual members actually borrowed money on behalf of the church. Members cashed in personal insurance policies to use as collateral, or signed personal notes for loans to help pay the expenses to keep the church solvent, and to pay the interest on the church loan to prevent foreclosure of the mortgage. Helen Jameson, a longtime member, recalls a favorite childhood memory at church during the Great Depression. OKC First Church would hand out to every child a red mesh bag filled with an apple, an orange, nuts in the shells, and a piece of ribbon candy. What an indelible mark on these children, and what an indelible mark these children made as adults and members of OKC First Church. And now, 100 years later, OKC First Church is still ministering to children and providing life-changing memories. The Friendship class, organized in 1931, met in the back balcony of the sanctuary. Some of the charter members were Raymond R.K. and Lucille Adams, Frank and May Eyrick, Aubrey and Mayon McNeil, and Shelby and Ruby McPhail. This class was blessed with members who worked as camp counselors, taught many of the Sunday school classes, and always filled in wherever there was a need. A young and vibrant 25-year-old man assumed the senior pastorate at OKC First Church of the Nazarene in August 1945, just after World War II. He proceeded to make an impact not only on the church, but the entire city. For the 14 years he served as pastor, his name was R.T. Williams, Jr. Because of his influence, OKC First Church fast became known as the Singing Church. Many people entered the doors of OKC First Church during the 40s and 50s. Most of the time, they were introduced to the church through personal invitation. Lives were changed, and incredible stories of service and sacrifice began. By the 1960s, zoning requirements had changed in downtown, and the 6th and Francis location was now zoned commercial. By the late 1960s, several church board members wanted to move the church to the northwest part of Oklahoma City. General projections indicated that the direction of the city's growth in the next 10 years would be in the northwest. On July 9, 1969, the Board of General Superintendents placed Oklahoma City First Church of the Nazarene under the jurisdiction of the Northwest Oklahoma District. OKC First Church broke ground for the new $650,000 structure at 4400 Northwest Expressway on May 24, 1970. Dedication of the Phase 3 800-seat sanctuary took place on June 3, 1984. Our church neighborhood has changed, just as the neighborhood changed at 6th and Francis so many years ago. The decision to remain at 4400 Northwest Expressway and not relocate to another location was based on a feasibility study led by Jim Priest. From that decision, OKC First Church has made a concerted effort to stay and be a conduit of hope and grace to its neighborhood. From providing weekly help through our Hope Box ministry to opening its doors for literacy classes, ESL learning, and transformational group meetings, OKC First Church is continuing its heritage of helping and blessing people. It has become apparent that God is calling us, OKC First Church of the Nazarene, to respond to the challenges facing the unique corridor of Northwest Expressway and Northwest 63rd Streets. God is calling us to be hope in the neighborhood. The Cole Community Center has been years in the making. Several years ago, Wilma Cole gifted a substantial piece of property in her estate to OKC First Church of the Nazarene. She directed that proceeds from its sale would be earmarked specifically for construction of an additional facility. She dreamed of a facility that would be used for increased ministry in the life of the church she loved so much. We are now poised to fulfill the dreams of Wilma Cole and many other faithful followers of our church. With this building, with the programs that will be housed there, and with the appropriate staff, people who will serve the neighborhood in the process, we will offer our neighborhood opportunities for change and hope. The dynamics of church community are changing. The emphases on social justice, small groups, liturgical practices, and transformation are all around us. Most importantly, most of us will not be here for the celebration of our 150th year anniversary. Our vision for the future must be taken up by the next generation. As a church, we want to worship and serve a God who does all He can do to bring life and health and hope to us. This is the image of God now preached and taught and embodied here at OKC First. We aren't perfect just yet. God still has to move and bend and flex to reach us. But we are aware of His choice. We are increasingly aware of His love for us. And we are being changed. Happy 100th birthday, Oklahoma City First Church of the Nazarene.